as well. Guys, this was incredibly impressive. And I just need to point out, I think, Greg, this is your channel that you wrote that from this point, you will be writing ton of this type of stuff to clean up all the old family photos on PC. 100%. If I would knew how to write code, I would do the same.
Exactly right.
Yes. Okay, so Greg, there is a little bit of mic scratching on your side sensitivity. But I will kick off with a couple of questions, and maybe we start with Alexander. So the questions to you about security concerns. Yes, do you have security concerns given an AI access to core OS systems such as PowerShell? Do you foresee potential abuse of AI to obtain private information from the end user when given them access? Any pointers here?
In regards of for all PowerShell code, you should at least be able to read and understand what the code will do to your system. And when you come into AI, like with Windows Copilot, I listened to a podcast, and from what I understand, it can't really do system changes on your behalf. It can tell you what to do, but it can open application and stuff like that, but no central Windows system settings. So I don't really have a high concern about that, but it's something to be mindful of course.
Thank you for this answer. And Jan, I think you're going to like this comment. Well, Poop, sorry, please don't block me on YouTube, says that he's inspired to make his own deck of cards. It's so cool. Thank you for your inspirational presentation. We have a question to you about more philosophical discussion. So do you think philosophical discussions with an AI will yield results that can help positively grow a person seeking spiritual guidance?
So I think you know what my answer will be. I really believe in the human and machine collaboration paradigm. And the great thing is that you don't talk to one machine, you can talk to 5 or 6 at the same time. So what you could do in your prompt is implement multiple characters. And they can play each a different role. So actually, you can ask one question and let the AI do the discussion. And then afterwards, you can step in. So yeah, my answer is yes, because you can. It is not only a discussion; it is also helping to form an opinion yourself. You can talk to friends, but you can also talk to an AI, and you have 7 or 8 friends in the prompt. Not that I say that I prefer, of course, the prompt. Always a good human conversation is always better, but it's really stimulating your thinking. I think, yeah, for me, it's full yes. And by the way, there's one other tip I want to give. If you're a man and you want to do prompt engineering, you have to grow a beard. That is what I learned if I look at this session.
Well, I am bringing diversity. You gotta get some girls without beards. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the beard game.
That's true.
All right. So the data visualization, Greg, this was incredible. Completely could relate to the house analogy. I was the whole time like nodding on this one. And I got a couple of questions for you. So let's start with this one because Darth Looper, come on, guy, the best questions, the best. When visualization.
Darth Looper, yeah.
Excuse me, this is 5 hours. I'm definitely getting done.
No.
Okay, so then
I can read it if you like.
Please, native English speakers, help me out. Okay.
When visualizing the data, do you experience bias in data display, giving first glance misleading results such as improper bar sizes, poor color choices, inaccurate percentages versus pie size, etc.? This is a big consideration in data visualization. We talk about this a lot. We have this concept of data dishonesty and lying using data, which is something that that we're always fighting against. So there's a big consideration around common things are where you start your bars not at 0, so you provide a misleading bar sizes by starting them at a different thing other than 0. You have another thing where if you use something like a 3D pie graph that represents volume instead of area, we're always fighting against these types of things. And so it's pretty mature in the data visualization world where we're very aware of it, and most tools are built in a way that doesn't allow for too much sort of data dishonesty, if you like.
Thank you for this answer. And the follow-up question is, how do you keep and ensure accuracy in a data set handled by AI? What processes do you utilize to check the data being extrapolated?
Yeah, so the data is the hard bit, as we say in data visualization, and so the visualization part is the easy part. And when it comes to data quality and data things like, so you've got a few different considerations. You've got security of the data, and then obviously the accuracy of the data. And I think we're a little ways away from leaving that purely to AI to provide, because of the sort of black box nature of kind of AI models. We need to have a certain amount of rigor over certain data sets. If you've got particularly things like GDPR related data sets, anything to do with personal identifiable information, then we need to have a certain amount of vision over what's happening to that data in the back end. So I think you'll find in the data world that people won't necessarily leave it 100% to AI for data accuracy purposes. With that being said, though, I've never seen really an example where any kind of AI analysis has gotten anything wrong. So we're yet to it's still an undiscovered kind of world, I think, where we're still uncovering what the possibilities are and what can it do and what can't it do reliably and accurately, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. And this question about historical data, and especially health data, now we have also, ChatGPT can see, hear, and interact with you. And the follow-up to this was actually exploring Wayback Machine. So my question really to you, and maybe to all of you, coming down to the data, what excites you to explore data with ChatGPT, be it the undiscovering personalities or exploring philosophical topics or writings? Any explorations with historical data that you already did, and at what scale, and anything that excites you in the future? I will go first. YouTube. I just want to understand YouTube historical data on thumbnails and titles, and then I'm ready to, rock fully. But yeah, anything on your sides? Alexander, Greg, whoever wants to jump in.
Oh, I spend all day, every day,
Yeah.
messing
Okay.
around with different data sets. So I obviously do it obviously a lot with commercial data, but it's interesting to compare some of the analysis that the large language models do compared to what real people do, and doing almost side-by-side analysis with what's happening in the real world. Unfortunately, I don't have too many I can share because they're all private pieces, but that weather data is the only public data that I've been messing around with recently. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're really only just starting in this space. There's a long way to go.
And yeah,
on my side, it is more I'm playing around with survey data. Actually, I'm playing around with survey data as of 20 years ago that I still have to figure out if my statistics were right. And guess what? I got my degree, but my statistics were wrong. I think that's also awesome because now you can analyze so quickly. So if everybody's using Microsoft Forms, right, to collect data and do a survey, get some insight. And then you have all the statistics. And what do? They put it in Excel and you get only the average and nothing else. And the data doesn't talk. With ChatGPT, you can go to the next level. Although you have this challenge that you can put it, of course, don't put it on the public version, but if you are lucky and you have the stuff available in Azure, then you can, with a good heart, you can upload your company data because it's protected, it's secure, it stays with your own Azure instance, and then you can do this analysis, and it pays back huge because it saves so much time for so many people. Because actually, I think the biggest thing that it's going to bring, it's going to democratize data and data analytics, and I think that's going to be the strong point. If people just try to take the first step, and when you're in the flow funnel, you go all the way. That's my experience, at least.
Yeah. Alexander, any pointers?
Yeah. For years now, I've been looking at the usage in M365, how people use Teams, how people use OneDrive, and so on. And having all, for some customers, I store historical data in SQL databases for how users was like 3 years ago. And with AI, I see that you can more easily and make it more accessible to do a comparison year by year. Ask for which trends that AI see in the data, even though you're not a data scientist. It makes it a lot more accessible for the masses.
Yeah, and I have a question to actually all of you. So what is your biggest joy and biggest frustration working with large language oh my god, what's going on? You know what I mean. Because as exciting as it is, I think we all, run into some hurdles throughout experimentation. So any tips, any issues that you overcome, and any frustrations that you're looking forward for solutions, maybe, community can help out addressing some.
I have one, like the example from my presentation on comparing meeting events. When testing, first try, it said, no, there's nothing that can be used to put these two events together. And then you try again, ask it, clear the history, try again. There's this parameter here that you can use to compare them together. So it's as most people have discovered, when it's wrong, it try to persuade you that it's right. So you need to have that in back of your mind.
And just to add you, this is kind of maybe a conversation about more hallucinations, but I plugged GPT 3.5 to Google Sheets. This was in very early days to test prompts. So basically I would just ask a prompt and just, drag it and play with variables. And I remember I just wanted, some kind of synthetic data, and I asked for names. And there was it gives names, and then sometimes it was like, as a large language model, I can't generate names. And I was like, yeah, right, So yeah. Anyway, so this was my frustrations in the early days. Now testing has advanced. And then, Prompt Hub, definitely check it out. Okay, Greg, any frustrations with data visualizations?
It's certainly, I think mirroring your own experiences, it's very convincing when it's wrong. In our world, we write a lot of DAX language, which is the Power BI calculation language, like Excel formulas or sheet formulas, Google Sheets formulas. And there's not a lot. So it's unlike Python, which ChatGPT is fantastic at, because there's so much information out there online, and it's obviously been trained on that. And similarly with JavaScript, where you're dealing with a computer language that doesn't necessarily have a lot of information out there, it's very, very convincing when it goes down the wrong rabbit hole. And you have to be very careful. There's been instances where it's invented whole new functions and described exactly what that function. And I was like, well, this looks correct. Like it mirrored so closely what a real function would look like. I thought it was a function I hadn't heard of, and I had to go back to the references and check that if this function existed, and it didn't. It just hallucinated a whole new function for a capability that this language didn't have at all. And so I think that, and particularly, using this kind of iterative method that I kind of speak about, is that I'm always looking for it to go down where I feel like it's starting to go down a bit of a rabbit hole, and I want to bring it back to kind of where it was and start a new chat or refresh the history and clear the history and continue again, like that. that's definitely a big frustration. But I think on the joy side, it's so much fun, right? So
Yes.
so yeah, I don't mind at all. Yeah.
Jan, what did you run into?
So in the beginning, what was a little bit frustrating, but also I was surprised when I was doing a little bit of market research using ChatGPT. And then I always ask, okay, provide me with the references, because to check if it's hallucinating or not. And then you see all these nice links. And then you click the link, and then the website doesn't exist. So this one was one of, yeah, so okay, get used to it, but hopefully it will be fixed. I know why it is. It's fine. So you can always go the different route and go to Bing Chat, and then you can do the same kind of stuff. So I would advise you to do that one if you want to have the source on the internet. On the Joy side, you can make fun with this thing. I don't know if you've seen my system. You have to share a prompt, right? Before for the entry of the conference. And at that time, I was thinking playing with ChatGPT to write a satiric scientific article based on two terms. So it could be bureaucracy and management. And then it's going to write the whole story around the two things. And that makes me smile every time, because you just put two words and then you get the story. And that's so fun. So if you start your day with something like that, you're set for the rest of the day, for sure. So that's the fun part.
Yeah. No, thank you all for sharing the stories. I have a couple of more questions for you, and this one, I think it was directed to Greg, but I kind of want to a little bit expand it to all of you. So the question is, how do you align simple iterative prompt between developers and shared apps? Is there a repository for shared prompts, for example? So to broaden up the question to all of you, where do you go for prompts or inspiration for prompts? And also, how do you manage your prompts? So this is like kind of expanded touch on whichever point you want to go into first. But yeah, I'm just curious, like where do you store everything and how do you iterate?
I'll go quickly first, I guess. So just quickly, yeah. So I think this is an emerging area is about collaborative prompting. Like I think there's a bit of work to do there. A sort of branch merge or GitHub style of technology would be great. I don't know of anything that exists right now, but
oh my God. Okay, Greg,
yeah.
I have to
We just invented something.
No, Prompt Hub,
Prompt Hub, yeah.
prompt.us is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
GitHub, right? Okay, sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
Didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
that's okay.
Please continue.
Yeah, I'll have to look into the features whether that you can all collaborate on a single prompt. That'd be interesting to know. But yeah, Prompt Hub is great. There's when I'm looking for prompt inspiration, there's a lot of YouTubers out there at the moment that I think are doing really interesting thing. All About AI is my go-to guy for prompting at the moment. I think he's doing really interesting stuff in the prompting space. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Thank you. I was kind of patiently waiting for you to say like, "Oh, Gotta Go channel. I also subscribe to
Gotta
it."
go, of course.
Anyway,
Sorry.
I subscribe to your channel, so just so you know, excited to
I'm
watch.
pretty sure I've subscribed to yours. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, Alexander, how do you handle your prompting journey?
I do a lot of work within the PowerShell space and stuff like that. So I follow a lot of people on Twitter that do a lot with Azure OpenAI and API calls. So that's where I learned how to use good prompts, from getting written a function in PowerShell, a script even. But there's a lot of inspiration on Twitter actually. But I don't have any good system for storing prompts I have used and stuff like that. But you have to start thinking about that, of course.
Just to add, like I recently really discovered Superpower ChatGPT extension. It's Google Chrome extension. So it allows, but this is for specifically ChatGPT, but it really allows you like a folder storing of your prompts and a little bit of management. Okay, Jan, anything you can share?
Yeah, it's chaos over here in the Netherlands, storing prompts. So I tried different systems and nothing was working actually. So I started in a simple way and I ended up in Scrivener. I don't know if you know Scrivener. It's used to write books or scenarios for movies. And then you can drag everything across. Text-based looks a little bit like Trello, but then for writing. So that's helping me a lot. And on the company side, we have a prompt store. So since we are working on the prompt store, we are now testing it. And it works actually great. So employees can share their prompt so that they can use each other's prompt and they can also like it and give them a rating. So we know which prompts work best. And then we can take a look at it, not me, but the expert prompt engineers, to see if we can improve it even more. One tip is put your prompt that is really working great, put it in ChatGPT again and ask if you can improve the prompt. So it can be very easy sometimes. And it could also be very helpful. And on the other end, we also have the folders, but we use it for a different kind of way, but that goes much more in depth. So that's how we managed to share the prompts. I wrote down because I didn't know the prompt hub, so I'm going to check it out for sure. So thanks for the tip. So probably I also have to subscribe to your channel, Koran.
Probably should. Sorry, Jan.
I must. Sorry.
No, I'm trying to kind of, because I myself, like I'm not as technical as you guys, definitely, but I do know a little bit of, scripting, and I have, I think, general understanding. Plus, talking about historical data, I worked in big data analytics company for pricing intelligence for airlines. So basically, every time when you buy a ticket, that decision was made by the company I was working. And we've been writing about machine learning. And at that time, this is like 3 years ago, that was considered like in marketing was like, oh, that's too hype. Don't keep punching that everywhere. And now we see AI absolutely everywhere. Okay, so I have one question for Alexander, and this is very specific one. So you mentioned that the method discussed can be also applied to other languages. Can you give an example of how prompt engineering could be benefiting debugging in other programming languages?
I don't remember exact language, but I saw a demo from MS Build this summer with Scott Hanselman, and they wrote an Asteroid game, and they got all the parsed graphics, the coding, and debugging if they did something wrong. It came with suggestion. You had GitHub Copilot inside of Visual Studio, and doing JavaScript, C++, Objective, and stuff like that. It seems like a good fit.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I would like to also ask Jan to elaborate, like, from the non-technical person to non-technical person, what potential do you see this is going to unlock to people who don't have maybe necessary technical background or have limited technical experience? And to narrow down the question, do you see that we won't need so much programming language, or another route is that people without technical background will be able to so quickly get on board and use simple applications like you all just demonstrated?
To be honest, I think
always.
I think we need more programmers.
Nice.
Why? Because we can. It's not a closed system. It's not a box. It's not sitting in a box. The whole thing that we are doing. It's going outside of the box. So we're gonna create more and better stuff. And there we need programs. Just like with low code, we can do a power up, right? But you also have the pro default power apps. So then you have to really know your shit. Otherwise, the thing will not work. And I think the same applies to this as well. But I also see a risk, actually. So if you look at society, there's already a digital divide at the moment. I think it's going to be bigger, much bigger. If you don't jump on this train, if you're gonna miss out, you think, oh, this going nowhere. I'm gonna neglect it. There was a study from Harvard Business Review, for example. I think it was published in September, and people that were using ChatGPT or other tools, they were much more productive, saved a lot of time. So if you don't use it, even the digital divide within the workplace will take place. So people can outperform others with ease if you know how the prompt works. And if you know how the prompt works, then you can write a simple program just like I did. Yeah, I studied Python a little bit, but okay. But if you want to write real code, good code, and that was what Greg was mentioning in his talk. You have to know the frameworks and the systems and how software is built. If you don't get this, then you end up in a mess. And your program will not work. But you had fun, you have learned a lot, but then somebody else has to take over. So the risk is that the maintenance of applications built by people like you and me will be high. The scalability is also a risk. So does it scale? We don't know. It works. So great, let's go. But that's not the whole story. So that's why you have this enterprise architects, this great guys that know how code really works. And if you put a team like that together, you need them. Otherwise, you end up in a big mess than even before. I think with coding. Although I'm very, very excited. Actually, I'm completely fired up around CatOpX. I think if you have a very good programmer who is doing the start of the coding and you know the principles, that could be something. But I don't know yet. I didn't put my hands on it yet. So maybe Greg does, or you have, or Alexander have already played with it. I've seen the demos, and that could be something.
So you already got spoiled, but I think Maxime is like, hey guys, we need to close, but I'm here in charge. So for yes, I really would like kind of like, we are ending the stream and this conference, and I think what would be beautiful ending is a quick fire round of actually you either sharing one tool which is on top of your mind that you are using, any tips, inspiration, and you can also kind of pose a question to the audience that something is running on your mind. If you're cool with that, we can put Greg on a spotlight.
Oh, I was trying to think of something. Now you really put me on the spotlight. What's on my mind at the moment? I think we're right at the beginning, right? And we're still learning a whole new human-computer interaction. I think it's a really fantastic place. It's really inspiring to see what's happening, and it's moving so fast. This concept of kind of co-pilot is huge, and yeah, I don't really have anything other than that, other than to say keep practicing and iterating, right? Keep iterating and playing with it, and keep the vibes up, and you'll have a lot of fun.
And so subscribe to Greg's channel. I was already peeking on your videos on data visualization. It's amazing.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alexander?
Yeah, as I showed in my demos using Azure OpenAI, and I've been playing around with creating a chatbot in Microsoft Teams that use Azure OpenAI and internal SharePoint documents, so you can get answers based from HR documents and stuff like that. So that's really fun. I've written a couple of blog posts around it on my blog, alexholmeset.blog also. That's
Fantastic.
really fun.
Jan?
Yeah, for me, it's not a tool. It is finding like-minded people, like we have done during this conference. I think that's the key, because if we keep on sharing with each other, we keep on moving and we keep on improving. I think that's the tool. It's not a tool, but yeah, the community, the virtual community, you can called community software. So get some good community software out there that we can share all our stuff together. That would be awesome. The old networks, where are they? The Web 2.0 space, where is it?
Yeah, so I think we are very much in a building process, and I definitely invite you to join Discord channels, both Prompt Engineering Conference, and also SynthMind. So we will be dropping some links in the chat. And with that, I think it's time for 5-hour ending. So this was crazy. I'm definitely kind of reconsidering. Maybe Twitch streaming is the next career move. But I just want to thank you all for having this conversation and for your presentations. And this was incredibly insightful. And as you can see from the comments, definitely people resonate for the value you bring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.